Hey, it's your friend Choice CJ here, and I am bringing you guys my Week 2 Team Builder for PMC Season number 2. We are the Baltimore Orioles, and this week we are going up against a division rival, and it is the Colorado Rapidash, coached by Dr. V. Dr. V is a good friend of ours. He helped us out a lot in the PMC D League, genning our team, so big shout outs to him. You can find all of his information down in the description, of course. But he is no longer a friend, he is now a rival, and we need to take this man to town. And before we think about doing that, let's go ahead and look over his team. He has a Weavile, Landorus Eye, Entei, Vaporeon, Cofagrigus, Mega Blastoise, Espeon, Weezing, Regice, Machamp, and Dunsparce. So, really threatening team. Landorus Eye is a really busted Pokemon, obviously. We have a couple of decent checks for it on our team. We didn't bring every potential check, of course, but it's still a threat if we let one of our Pokemon go down too early. Weavile is a threat in general, and is a really good check to my offensive threats, being Salamence and Tornadus. He does not have a Flying Resist, and he does not have a Dragon Resist, so that's definitely scary for him, but Weavile just comes in every time one of those Pokemon gets a kill and scares him out. He has other troubling Pokemon like his Bulky Waters, Vaporeon, and Blastoise. Regice is surprisingly bulky. Weezing is always a problem. Entei might be the biggest threat of all to my team. I don't really have great answers for that thing because I don't really have I don't know, I have fire resists, like in Tentacruel and Salamence, but, you know, Entei is just a special case, because you don't want anything to get burned most of the time. So anyway, it's definitely not going to be an easy task, but I think we are up for it. And without further ado, let's just hop right into these rosters here. So first thing we are going to do is we are going to be bringing a physically defensive Salamence with a Shardy Berry, Dragon Pulse, Hydro Pump, Roost, and Defog. Dragon Pulse because it hits his team unresisted. Hydro Pump for the Entei and also for a potential Lando. Lando, it's still kind of scary because we're not Spadef. I am going to be fearing the HP Ice from that thing. I was Yachi Berry until like a few minutes ago. I decided to put the Chardy Berry on. This Salamence is the best answer that I have for Entei, and that's why we have the Chardy Berry. The Chardy Berry is going to allow us to take a Stone Edge a lot better. If he's banded, it does like 55% minimum usually, but then we can have that and land a huge hit with the Hydro Pump. It does like 70 or 80%. I'm not exactly sure, but it's in a good position to kill after rocks, assuming that he's banded and not HP invested. If he's something like AV, which is definitely possible, to counter things like Volcarona and Sylveon, then obviously it's not going to be doing nearly as much. I'm hoping it's still a 2-hit KO, but to be fair, or to be honest, I haven't done the calcs. But yeah, I was thinking about bringing offensive Ments, like a Choice Scarf Ments, just because it does so well against him. But at the end of the day, I just couldn't bring myself to use that and leave myself completely defenseless to Entei. So we have some other offensive options later on the team that can compensate for the lack of power here. Next up, we have a Colbert Berry Mesprit, Stealth Rock, Psychic, Ice Beam, Hidden Power Fighting. Stealth Rock because I need something with Stealth Rock, Psychic to hit just most of his team pretty well, Ice Beam for the Landorus, Hidden Power Fighting for the Weavile. This is the main check to the, Landorus, because we do resist or rather we are immune to the Earth Power, so that's nice. Moves like Sludge Wave and are not going to do that much. The big thing that he can hit us with is Knockoff, and we do have the Colbert Berry for that, and we should be able to kill in return with Ice Beam. I put some investment into a special attack here so that we could guarantee Oko the Weavile after rocks if needed. I'm hoping that I don't end up getting trapped by Weavile here with this Mesprit, because otherwise I don't have a great response for the Landorus. Again, if I had left the Yachi Berry on the Salamence, then it could take it on and use a Hydro Pump for it, but then that thing can't really take on the Entei quite as well. So I needed to sort of think about what those Pokemon, what I needed them to do. And Salamence, while it'd be nice to check Landorus, I really needed that to check Entei. But yeah, that's the Mesprit. It's not too fancy. I put a little bit of speed in here just in case he decides to speed creep with his Blastoise, because Blastoise is only 2 points slower than Mesprit. So if he wants to, we hit, I guess we normally hit 101. So maybe this isn't the best, because what is it? It's, no, it's fine. We normally hit 100 with no investment. So if he tries to go to 101, we're at 102. So yeah, that's the Mesprit this week. Next up, we've got a funky set on our Volcarona. Max defense, max HP, Will-O-Wisp, Flamethrower, Giga Drain, Roost. No item. This is the Weavile counter. I didn't say it was a good Weavile counter, but it is a Weavile counter. Because if we switch in on a knockoff and we don't get the Flame Body Burn, we can follow up with a Will-O-Wisp. And we should be able to Roost up at that point. Because I think from a Life Orb, Weavile does like 40% max. So you need like 3 max rolls in order to kill us from full. Well, the nice thing about V's team is that his only Stealth Rockers are Dunsparce and Landorus Eye. And so you're not going to want to bring Stealth Rock on Landorus Eye most of the time, because then you're forfeiting a ton of power and coverage. So unless he decides to bring Dunsparce, there's a good chance he doesn't bring Rocks. In case what he does, I do have the Defog on the Mence. But, that just makes me feel a lot better about Volcarona. The fact that he doesn't have very many good ways to get up Rocks. But yeah, that's what it's supposed to do. Then Flamethrower, just hits things relatively hard. Giga Drain to hit the waters if needed. I'm not going to stay in most of the time on a water type, unless I think I can pick it off. It's just there for good coverage. It does leave us walled by Entei, but, just what am I supposed to do against an Entei? And it's not like we can stay in on an Entei anyway. Sacred Fire is going to kill, Stone Edge is going to kill. But yeah, Roost the last move just to heal up once we land a burn on something. So I think Volcarona is going to be surprisingly important, and he's not going to expect this set. People only think of one set with Volcarona, and that is, of course, anything with Quiver Dance. Alright, so those are the main defensive mons. Now we're starting to shift into the offense here, and I think you guys are really going to like this set. We have a Sylveon, Leftovers, Physically Defensive with Wish, Calm Mind, Reflect, and Hyper Voice. This thing is monstrous versus his team. He does have some Fairy Resists. He has Weezing and an Entei. If it's not an Assault Vest Entei, Hyper Voice actually does more to it than something like Psyshock would, and the same goes for Weezing, believe it or not. Just because Weezing's got awesome physical defense but really poor special defense, and Hyper Voice just has such high base power after it's boosted by Pixelate. So anyway, there's lots of mons on his team that we can Calm Mind up on. Blastoise, Vaporeon, Cofagrigus, probably Dunsparce, although I would be a little bit worried about Body Slam Paralysis. But so we can Calm Mind up on all of those things. The major threats to us are going to be Weavile and the Entei, because they can hit us with very hard, physical moves. But that's what the Reflect is for. After a Reflect, a Sacred Fire is doing 35% max. It would suck to get the burn, but we can just kind of wish up and either stall him out of Sacred Fires or eventually try and get up enough to where we can hit him with Hyper Voice. Of course, it would be most ideal if we could get that thing out of the way before we start setting up. The Entei is really the problem here. But even a Landorus Eye, if we get to +1 or +2, it's gonna have a hard time dealing with this thing. A Sludge Wave is only gonna hit for 40% at +1. So this thing is awesome. I'm actually really proud of this set. And I think this is going to be a really important win condition for me. Next up, we've got a Scarf Breloom with Mach Punch, Force Palm, Bullet Seed, and Spore. Now, this is quite a doozy as well. This outspeeds Weavile at max speed. And while an Ice Shard can normally do 70 to 75%, to us. Because we outspeed, we can out-prioritize with our own Mach Punch, and clean Oko that thing. It does not want to take a Mach Punch. Breloom's also really important, again, to hit the water types, being Vaporeon and Blastoise. Force Palm is just a very powerful move with a pretty convenient second condition of having a 30% paralysis chance. And Spore is there because it's Spore. It's very good. You know, we can put something to sleep and effectively cripple one of his Mons. You know, I would love to have run this thing with like a Yache Berry or something different, but I just didn't think it was worth it. Just because, I don't know. It would have been okay, but I thought Choice Scarf was better, because it also can do a good bit of damage to Landorus Eye with a Bullet Seed and things like that. And I just really wanted to use Scarf Breloom. I think it's a lot of fun. Then last but not least, we have a mixed offensive Tornadus T, Hurricane, Grass Knot, Knockoff, and U-Turn. Enough speed to outspeed a timid Espeon. This thing is just a monster versus him. As I mentioned at the beginning, he has no resists to flying moves. So this Hurricane is going to be doing like 50% minimum to like everything on his team. Like Vaporeon, I think, takes like 45%. That's the best thing he has to take on this Tornadus. Maybe like an Assault Vest Kofag or something like that, or Assault Vest Entei, but those things are weird. I wouldn't expect those. Grass Knot to hit the Blastoise. Hurricane actually does more damage to Vaporeon, so it's just really there for the Blastoise. It's the only thing it's there for. Knockoff just has a good move in general. Also hits the Espeon extremely hard, hits the Kofag, and other stuff like that. And then U-Turn for momentum. Again, you know, this thing is very, very threatening to his team, but the Weavile is a big threat to the Tornadus. So if I can get off a burn with the Volcarona, or I can snipe it with a Mach Punch for my Breloom, then Tornadus, I think, is going to be pretty much home free. We will have to be aware of, you know, extreme speed from Entei. Like, you know, we can't put ourselves in range from that thing. We're going to have to be really, really careful. But otherwise, this Tornadus is probably the #1 win condition. Like, the Sylveon is nice, but, you know, that requires a lot of setup. Tornadus can just come in if things are sufficiently weakened. It outspeeds a lot of things and just kills with Hurricane. You know, we are relying on a 70% accurate move. I really wanted to put Air Slash on this thing, but the loss in power is just so notable. And, you know, we are an offensive set. We need as much firepower as possible. So that was the reasoning behind this Tornadus, and if we are gonna have any chance of winning, it's gonna be on the back of this Tornadus. So that is the team, you guys. Battle will be going up tomorrow. Hope you are looking forward to it. Check back for that, and be sure also to check back to my channel for other Pokemon content. And until the next time, I will see you guys later.